Hello, everybody. Thank you, Leon, for that introduction.
Don't go 100%.
And it looks like you're still competing with the booth that's way over there. Okay.
Continue and learning about muscles and kind of like how what muscles do,
like this, all the time. So I work for Armstrong. We're based in Detroit. We do CGI production for probably 80% is automotive related. And what I'd like to do is share a little story that happened over the summer, just recently, where we used Bunkspeed and Hypershot in our CGI print production. So we have a traditional pipeline using Maya and Max, where we create print, high-res print, broadcast, commercial, and a lot of content for the web. Probably about Armstrong White's been in business for 12 years. They got their start in CGI or retouching automotive photography. And about 5 years ago, got into the CGI portion, doing 3D print production. And now we do motion for web, for broadcast, and still do quite a bit of print production. But what I'd like to do is share our story where about 5 years ago, we started creating CGI images for Chrysler's print catalog. And over the years, if you attended the presentation earlier today by Tom Haynes with Chrysler, that image count has been growing, and a lot of catalogs are now produced 100% CGI. So last year, in 2007, we did about 300 digital shots for the car catalogs. This would be for Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep catalogs. And we used our traditional pipeline. We did use Bunkspeed for pre-visiting angles with clients, but we didn't have it in production for doing finishing shots. Well, this year in 2008, we had a little bit more than half of what we did last year, but we had a lot less time to do that 160 CGI images. So we altered our pipeline and we did over 100 of these shots with Bunkspeed. So the reasons we changed our pipeline was, even though there were fewer images and we had a lot less time to get those images done, we had more projects in production at the time than we had the prior year. There's an explosion in web content as far as automotive companies advertising their new vehicles on the internet. So our traditional pipeline was heavily booked, and the Bunkspeed pipeline used different resources. We could use retouchers, we could use photographers who were computer literate and were embracing the technology. And ultimately, the Bunkspeed pipeline proved to be faster. So we created two types of images. Some were completely new images, where they gave us a backplate and wanted a new rendering of vehicle. And the other were product changes, what I call CGI per strip. Commonly, a photographer would shoot a wheel or a bumper at about the same angle, and they would update last year's photography with this new photography, and they strip it all together in Photoshop, make a nice picture. Well, now we can do that a lot faster with CGI, and even faster with a product like Hypershot from Bunkspeed, and really have a photographer or a retoucher who can embrace a product, understand a few things, and the interface is so simple that they can be rendering their own images, retouching their own images, and it's a less sophisticated pipeline, and that's what makes it a lot faster. Needless to say, you get that real-time feedback with Bunkspeed as well. So here's just a sample workflow. We would prep, in this case, a limited data set in Maya. Well, actually, there's the full data set. Some of the parts are hidden, so that you could do a camera lineup, or maybe you just needed these parts. And I'm trying to make the video play, so. Okay, that's not the video playing, but Leon, do you have is there a special button for making video play? It's supposed to be clickable. Windows. Well, what this video did show was not very much, but it showed in Bunkspeed, Piper shot, aligning the camera, following the back plate, aligning your shot, your CGI over your real back plate, tweaking your colors, and adding a dome for lighting and playing around with the settings and materials in the domes. So we're not going to miss much there. We'll skip to a final image on the right out of Bunkspeed. So common ingredients for doing a shot would be the backplate, the reflection dome in the lower left, and then the Bunkspeed render. You give the backplate and the render to the retoucher, and it produce the final image. But we break that down a little further. We do 4 renders out of Hypershot. We do a beauty with a ground shadow, a chrome pass, a clay pass, and an RGB pass. And the reason we do that is, even though this image looks great, a lot of times, once it's over the background, art direction might want to take it somewhere else. And instead of just having the retoucher make a bunch of changes by hand or going back into Bunkspeed, we do these layers so that changes can happen a lot faster. So the chrome pass is basically just applying a chrome shader to the whole car. Now some of it's not going to be used, you're not going to have chrome tires. But what this allows us to do in retouching is to add reflection where there wasn't reflection, or you can even subtract reflection by subtracting the part of the reflection out of it. So you can add and subtract. Likewise with shadow and shape of vehicle, clay pass allows for quick painting, deepening shadows where you want, or actually subtracting shadows, giving detail inside the lights so the lenses are turned off for this pass. And then the other pass is the RGB pass, which is strictly rendered for matte purposes. And the red, green, and blue are extracted out to the alpha channels. And the reason we do this instead of just using a magic wand is because these 3 matte passes will integrate with each other very well. You won't get any fringing, and if you do a lot of layers in Photoshop and a lot of additive processes, which typically happen in production, you'll start getting aliasing because you're building up on a matte line. And this way, it minimizes that aliasing. So there would be the final retouched image. So all out of Hypershot into Photoshop and Alpha. So I have a few before and afters of